Hello class, this is the next lesson, factoring, when we have a leading coefficient of 1, and the standard for a quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c, and it has to be equal to 0, and we're going to be identifying our a, our b, and our c. And what you look here on the problems that I have 1 through 9 is we have examples of how to get the factors. So how do we get the factors? So if you look at number 1, you're going to have the last number, which is your c, on the top. So if you have your x, c goes on the top, and your b is going to go at the bottom. So in this case, our c is going to be negative 14, and our b is 5. And what you want to do with those numbers is the top number, you're going to see which one multiplies, what two numbers multiply to get you negative 14, the top number, and what those two same numbers have to add and give you 5. So here we're going to be looking at what we call our greatest common factor. So we're going to go ahead and look at the multiples. And we have 1 times 14. We have, and if we were to add these or combine them, it does not give me 5. So I'm going to keep going. 2 and 7 give me 14. And notice here that 2 and 7 do not, that would, if I was to add them, it's going to give me 9. However, if I was to change the symbols there, if I was to put 1 to be a negative and 1 to be a positive, and because the 5 is positive, then the little number has to be negative. So I'm going to leave negative 2 and 7. And those are going to be my factors. Because whenever I add these two, 7 minus 2 gives me 5. And when I do multiply, I do get negative 2 times 7, I do get negative 14. So then I'm just going to put minus 2 for the factors and plus 7. Because the 7 is positive, I do need to add that plus in front. So then that should be your final answer. Again, it is a little bit confusing, but we'll get the hang of it. We have several examples. So for number 2, we're going to go ahead and put, again, the C goes here at the top. That's 35. The B goes at the bottom, which is 12. And then we're going to find two numbers that when I multiply, I get 35, but when I add, I get 12. So as I go through my multiples, I find out that 7 and 5, 7 times 5 gives me 35. And then 7 plus 5 give me 12. And notice that both of them are positive. So here you don't have to see which one is negative and which one's positive. So I'm just going to go ahead and put plus 7. And here the order does not matter. So if you want to put the plus 5 first, that's fine. And then the plus 7, that's fine as well. So let's take a look at number 3. Again, 24. I'm just going to go ahead and continue adding the numbers on the x's. And then we can go a little bit faster there. So number 3, the multiples I have is 1 times 24. I have 2 and 12. And notice again, I need to see the ones that multiply to give me 24. But when I add, I get negative 11. So far I don't have anything. 3 and 8. So 3 and 8, when I add them, I get 11. However, I need a negative 11. So in order for us to get a negative 11, then both of them have to be negative. So negative 3 and negative 8. Also, if you keep that in mind, when I multiply negative 3 times negative 8, negative and negative give you a positive. So that does give me that the positive 24. So then my factors here, and notice that the factors always have to be in those parentheses. So notice the variable that I'm using here is x minus the 3. That's one of the factors. And then the other one will be x minus 8. And then that should be your final answer there. So on number 4, you would do the same thing. And again, we want two numbers that when we multiply, get the top number, 36. So 1 and 36. 2 and 18. 3 and 12. And 3 and 12, since the 9 is negative, notice that when I do 12 minus 3, it does give me 9. So I'm going to go ahead and put 12 and 3. However, the 9 is negative, so I'm going to have to put the 12 to be negative because it's a bigger number. So now again, I subtract 12 minus 3 gives me 9. Bigger number is the 12, so it stays negative. And when I do 3 times negative 12, it does give me negative 36. Again, x plus 3. Again, here, and for the factoring, the order does not matter. So you can put the minus 12 first or the plus 3, doesn't matter, as long as both numbers are included. If you take a look at number 5, we're going to look at the multiples for 16. So then from here, we're going to go ahead and get the multiples. We have 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and we're looking for it to give us negative 8. So 2 and 8, we also have 4 and 4. And then there are repeats, so then we continue going back up. Well, we notice that, and because we do want to get a negative, then that means that these 4s are going to be negative. So negative 4 there. So x minus 4, x minus 4. So we're done with that. That's one way to do it, by hand, looking for the multiples of the letter C in your standard form for quadratics. That's one way. And the other way is going to be with the calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and show you with that. So we still need to find out the leading coefficient. In this case, it's the leading coefficient of 1. The reason why it's the leading coefficient of 1 is because here we have an invisible 1 in the front of that x squared. So the a in this case, a is always going to be 1. So we need to identify our a, our b, and our c. So on example 1, we have a to be 1, b to be 6, and then c to be 5. And notice that we are going to be using our calculator, but your final answer should be in this format. It has to be in those sets of parentheses. That's why I went ahead and have it there as well. So once we have our a, b, and c, we're going to go ahead and get the roots. So whenever we get the roots, and I'm going to show you right now in the calculator. So let's head over there so we can see it on the figured out our a, b, and c. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and go to calculator app. So go there, and we are going to use these key functions. So go to menu. You're going to go to 3, which is algebra. 3 again, which is polynomials. And then you're going to go ahead and click 1. 1 is find the roots of those polynomials. So it's going to tell you what degree you want it to. You're not going to mess with that. You're not going to move it or anything like that. Just go ahead and click enter or OK. And then that's where it's going to ask you your A, your B, and your C. So our A was 1. So we're going to go ahead and click 1. We're going to go down, because if you click OK, it's just going to leave you there. The next one is 6. And these are numbers that we already got from our example. And then the last one was 5. And then you're going to go ahead and click OK. So go down. We're going to go ahead and click OK. And it should look here, should look exactly the same way that we have our example on the one we're working on. And it does. So we're going to go ahead and click enter. And we do get these numbers right here, which is -5 and -1. Those are not your factors. Those are your roots. Those are your solutions. Those are your zeros. So once you get this answer, what you're going to do, the only difference that you're going to do is you're going to do opposite of what it says here. So we're going to go ahead and write it to where it's, and I'm just going to go ahead and type it here so you're able to see what I mean. So you should have your factors to be, again, opposite of what it says in your roots. So your factors should look like this. And that's it. You're done with your factors. Again, menu 3, 3, 1. So we're going to go ahead and look at the other problem. So we just got the answer for the previous problem, which was positive 5 and positive 1. And our roots were the opposite. So what you get in the calculator is negative 5 comma negative 1. Again, these are our roots, and all you're going to do is whatever you get here, it's going to be opposite for your factors. So this is how your factors should look. Now on example 2, again, we still have the leading coefficient of 1. So our A, again, is going to be 1. So we have 1. Now here, I did a little boo-boo, but this is a negative 7. So make sure you take this in consideration, that symbol in the front. So our B is negative 7, and our C is going to be 12. So we're going to go ahead and do this, the same thing. We're going to go ahead and plug it into the calculator, and we're going to go ahead and do menu 331. So let's take a look at that. Got our A, B, and C. So we're going to go ahead and go to menu 331. Again, we don't mess around with anything like that. We're just going to go ahead and click enter. We're going to go ahead and plug in our numbers. So 1, again, we're going to click the arrow going down. This one's going to be a negative 7, so negative 7. We're going to go down, and our last one is 12. So we're going to go ahead and click 12. We're going to go ahead and click OK. So we're going to go down. Click OK. Again, it does look like my problem that I have here. The only difference is that you do see X's here, and on your problem you see Q's, or you might have W's, you might have other variables. That's okay. Don't worry about it. However, when you do plug it into your iExcel, make sure those are the variables that you're using and not X. So this looks exactly the same way. So I'm going to go ahead and click enter. And there I have it. I have my roots. So my roots are 3, 4. And again, when you are typing it in, make sure that, so here, I'm going to use Q because that's what I had in my problem. So I have Q. And then I'm going to do opposite of what it says in my roots here. So again, Q and minus 4. And then this should be my final answer. So again, whatever I have as my roots that is given to me for this on menu 331, what I'm going to do for my factors, it's going to be opposite of what it says. And then there you have it. So going back to the calculator, my roots there were 3 and 4. And again, just like I mentioned there, you are going to put, I am using the variable Q. So I'm going to put the Q there. And again, opposite of what it says here, I'm going to write down here. So negative 3, Q, negative 4. And that's it. There you have it. So those are your factors. That's the way you're going to find out the factors. Now, for iExcel, you're going to go ahead and do double A4. And that's the iExcel that you're going to be doing. If you have any questions, please contact me. I have Google Classroom. Contact me there on YouTube. Contact me on Remind. Email. Anything, any way, format, go ahead and contact me, and I'll go ahead and help you out if you have any questions. Thank you.